Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina wa ala Muhammad wa barik wa sallim. So, as you know, today, the topic of today's lecture is the continuation of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, his legacy and his accomplishments and his life story. We started a series. We started a series a couple of weeks back about the Ashara Mubashara, the 10 Sahaba that were given the glad tidings of Jannah, one shot. There were many other Sahaba that were given glad tidings of Jannah. There's a famous Sahabi by the name of Qais bin Shammas radiallahu anhu. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said regarding him when there was an incident in his life, he said, Huwa min Ahlil Jannah. So there was many Sahaba that were given glad tidings in this world of Jannah, and there were 10 that were given at the same time in one setting. And the first amongst them was Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. And Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, we did his family background and his lineage and all his expertise and all of this. I just want to know, was anyone here the week we did it? Not really? So just a quick and brief background of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. His name was, we usually call him Abu Bakr, but his name wasn't Abu Bakr because Abu Bakr was his nickname. His name was Abdullah, and his father we know very famously as Abu Quhafa, but his father's name was Uthman. That's why his name is Abdullah bin Uthman radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And amongst his just because you weren't here the week we discussed it, was the reason his father gave him the title of Bakr was because he presented a powerful personality, the one who the literal meaning is the one who controls camels. So Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu used to control, and he had a power of controlling. He had some power as well. He wasn't just an ordinary person. So his father envisioned him like this, and that's why he gave him this. And he was from the tribe of Banu Taym. Banu Taym was his tribe, and one of the specialties of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu's knowledge was he knew the knowledge of Ilmul Ansab. Ilmul Ansab means the family tree. He knew the nasabs of everyone. And whenever Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to go for da'wah, he would go to Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu and inquire from Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu that, what do you know about this person's family? So Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu would give him the history of their family, and then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would go and give da'wah. So that was one of the things. And then everyone knows his famous title, Siddiq, and how he got that title, and how Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave him Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that every one of you, he told the Sahaba once, when there was an argument between Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu and another Sahabi, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, every one of you hesitated before Islam. Before they accepted, they hesitated. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu did not hesitate even a second. So do not trouble Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. And he is my sahib, and he is my best friend. So his wealth is my wealth, and he is my companion. And he had 6 children. 3 were sons and 3 were daughters. And we all know the famous daughter, Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha. And we know another daughter by Asma radiallahu ta'ala anha. And these were the famous daughters of Rasulullah, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. And one of the mother-in-law of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was Ruman. She was the wife of Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu and the mother of Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha. So Ruman was the wife of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu and the mother-in-law of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And there was a lot more last week, but inshallah today we want to get into the different aspects of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu's life. One was in last time we discussed that Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he never worshipped idols in his life. That was one of his things. And he did not drink khamar, and he did not worship any idols, and he did not commit any zina before Islam as well. And after Islam also he did not. In Zamana Jahiliyyah and in Islam, he was clean. Alhamdulillah. So that, and that's why he was a friend of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam before Islam as well. So Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he was always curious to learn about, he was open-minded. He wasn't someone very narrow-minded. He wasn't one of those people of Makkah, because my forefathers did this, my grandparents did this, I'm going to follow their religion. He wasn't one of those individuals. He was very open-minded, very sharp, very intelligent, and he would always search for the truth. So one of the ways he searched for the truth was, there was a time when a person by the name of Zayd ibn Amr ibn Nufail, he was there in the haram, and Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was sitting there as well. Zayd ibn Amr ibn Nufail, you're going to hear 3 names now. Zayd ibn Amr ibn Nufail, and you're going to Waraqa ibn Nawfal, and there's another Sahabi another person by the name of Umayyah ibn Abi Salt. These 3 people were known as Hanif. Anyone know the translation of Hanif? Hanif means the person who wasn't on any religion, but he was on the fitrah of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. He was searching for the truth, and he was waiting for the Prophet to come. So once when Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was sitting in the haram, Umayyah ibn Abi Salt was sitting there as well. And while he was sitting there was a famous person by Umayyah ibn Abi Salt. Umayyah ibn Abi Salt, he was famous for his poetry, and he was from the Thaqif tribe. So Umayyah ibn Abi Salt, when he came, Zayd ibn Amr ibn Nufail was sitting there. Umayyah ibn Abi Salt was an individual that came from the Thaqif tribe. And when he came to do tawaf, he seen Zayd ibn Amr ibn Nufail. Now these 2 were both on the deen of Hanif. They were not on the religion of idolatry. They were not worshipping any idols. They were not doing anything. They were in search for the true religion. Now, in search of their true religion, they also traveled in the past to other cities. And they traveled to Yemen, they traveled to Syria, and they explored other religions like Christianity and Judaism, and they said, this is not the religion of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, and we cannot accept this religion. And now when they Umayyah ibn Abi Salt, something about him, he was famous for his poetry. So once Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he seen him, he told him, say some poetry. So when he said this poetry, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after listening to him, he told him, why don't you accept Islam? So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said he was very close to accepting Islam, but he said, give me some time to think. And that time of thinking went, and he did not end up accepting Islam. And the history mentions that one of the reasons he did not accept Islam was there was some different thoughts coming to his mind. That, I'm not from the Quraysh, and the Prophet, he's saying he's from the Quraysh. So, this is not something that's true. I believe the Prophet came from the Thaqif tribe. So this is one of the reasons why he didn't accept Islam. Nevertheless, now Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu is sitting in the haram. Zayd ibn Amr ibn Nufail, who is from the Quraysh, he's sitting in the haram. Umayyah ibn Abi Salt, he comes from the Thaqif tribe. He's doing tawaf. He meets Zayd ibn Amr ibn Nufail. Now they are more older in age. They are not young like Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. And they have a lot more experience. They meet one another. They start talking. Hey, how are you? What you doing? And they started the discussion of religion. And in the discussion of religion, they used a word. They used the word that has the final prophet come, has the Nabi. They used the word Nabi. Nabi is an Arabic word. And they said, has the Nabi come yet? So this person is from Thaqif tribe. This person is from Quraysh. So they're discussing, has the Nabi come yet? And like I said, they traveled in the past and they were in search for the religion. And they said, you know what? He still hasn't come. So Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was listening to all of this and he hears this new word, Nabi. And he said, what is this? So he goes to someone who had the most knowledge in the Quraysh. Who was that? That was Waraqa ibn Nawfal. Again, Waraqa ibn Nawfal was that individual who was also on the deen of Hanif. Now, he goes and asks Waraqa ibn Nawfal that, oh Waraqa, what is this word Nabi? And who is this Nabi that's going to come? So Waraqa ibn Nawfal says, a Nabi is someone who gives the message to the people. And he explains, oh my nephew, this is someone that will come and he will give the message to the people, and he will tell the people a message that will be given by God. So he says, okay. And he said, what signs will he have? So Waraqa ibn Nawfal told Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu that he will be la yadlimu wa la yudlamu wa la yudalim. This person, one of the qualities he will have is he will not oppress, because usually when leaders come and rulers come and power comes, and when people want following, what do? So they make everyone oppressed and they say, follow me. So one of the signs that Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was told by Waraqa ibn Nawfal was, La yadlimu wa la yudlamu wa la yudalim. He will yudalim. So he will not oppress, he will not be an oppressor, and he will not support those that oppress. So it's from the Babi Mufa'ala. He will not support those that will oppress as well. So then this is one of those times of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu's life where Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu had a curiosity, and he had this investigation going on in his life that this idol worship is not real, but there is going to be a time where someone will come and give us the message, and I'm looking for the truth. There was another time in the life of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, once he was sitting with the Sahaba radiallahu anhu ajma'een, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked the Sahaba that, O Sahaba, who amongst you remembers what Qus ibn Sa'idah said? Now, who was Qus ibn Sa'idah? Qus ibn Sa'idah, he was from the tribe of Tihama. He was from Tihama, and he belonged to the tribe of Banu Iyad. And what did he say and where did he say this? So in Zamana Jahiliyyah, when people used to come for Hajj, remember Hajj is not from the time of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam only. It will happen in the past, but with their own customs and their own ways. So after Hajj, when these people used to come from different places, different tribes, what they used to do is they used to have a souk, and that souk was known as souk uqad. Souk uqad. Now in souk uqad, there was a person that came once and he said something at that time. And what did he say? And what was his name? His name was Qus ibn Sa'ida. Qus ibn Sa'ida, and Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam posed this question to the Sahaba. This was after Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was the Prophet, and he was just sitting among the Sahaba, and he asked that, does anyone remember this? And remember, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to go to these souks so to call people to Islam. And so Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam asked the Sahaba, who remembers what Qus ibn Sa'ida said? So Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu raised his hand and he said, oh Rasulullah, I remember. Now what does this show us? Number one, it shows us the memory of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. And this was very common in the people of the past, that their memories, they used to work on their memory a lot. Nowadays, we're making our memory more down and down. We're degrading our memories, even our children. You know, we're giving them gadgets so that they can, when you know they have math, we tell them, okay, just go to the calculator and just do your maths on the calculator. But these are some things that we shouldn't do, and we should try to make them memorize more. And one of the ways where a person can make his memory stronger is by learning the Quran. And this is one of the mu'jiza and miracles of the Quran. So nevertheless, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu had a very strong memory, number one. Number two is the message that Qus ibn Sa'ida was very important. And the curiosity of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. This is another incident of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu's curiosity in searching for the truth. Now, what did Qus ibn Sa'ida say? And Qus ibn Sa'ida, he was famous for something, and that he was famous for the way he said the nathar. Now, what's nathar? Nathar is basically, you know, it's something hard to understand, but you'll understand it if I say it like this. It's a type of rap in Arabic. Now, when I say the Arabic, you'll understand that it's a rap. So he was famous for this. So he started saying in Suq Uqad, he said, Ayyuhan nas, isma'u, wa'u, wa idha wa'itum, fantafi'u. إنما عاش مات ومن مات فات وكل ما هو آت. So what is he doing? He's doing nothing, but it's a type of a rap. But the message he was giving was, oh people, listen attentively and memorize. What? Memorize what? وَإِذَا وُعِيتُمْ فَانْتَفِيُوا. Whatever I'm going to tell you, it will benefit you. So what message, what is he telling the people to memorize? Innama ash, that verily all of us will live. And after living, mat, we will pass away. Waman mat, he fat. The person who passes away, he becomes fat. You know, he becomes nothing after that. And everything that is going to happen, وَكُلُّ مَا هُوَ آتٍ. Whatever is going to happen is, whatever is destined to happen is going to happen. This is what Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu memorized. Now, this shows that the curiosity of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was continuous. He was always looking for the truth. Now, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he was one of those people that accepted Islam very early on the hands of Prophet ﷺ. Now there is no mention of what was the dialogue between Rasulullah ﷺ and Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu when he accepted Islam. It was only them two. But we all know that when Rasulullah ﷺ posed Islam to him, he immediately accepted. And we heard this from the hadith of Rasulullah ﷺ, that Rasulullah ﷺ said, every one of you hesitated in accepting Islam except Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. Soon as I posed it to him, he immediately accepted Islam. So now this is his accepting of Islam. Now, after he accepted Islam, we all know something very famous. What is that? He went and did da'wah. He went and called others to Islam. And remember, when he called people to Islam, he called very influential people. He called the best of the best to Islam. Amongst them, those five, amongst the first few people he called to Islam, 5 became the Ashara Mubashara. 5 of them became Ashara Mubashara. They became the 10 people who Rasulullah ﷺ gave glad tidings to in one setting of Jannah. So imagine who he brought to Islam. It's like, you have a business and you start a business and you hire someone, and that person brings you 5 people who make your company the Fortune 500. Can you imagine his ihsan? It's unbelievable, right? So now, who were they? Zubair ibn Awam, Uthman ibn Affan, Talha bin Ubaidullah, Sa'ad ibn Abi Waqqas, and who? Abdurrahman ibn Auf. Every single one of these names, and this is not counting his own home. He was one of the only Sahabis whose parents, children, everyone accepted Islam. Wife, children, and parents. He was one of the few Sahaba who, all of them in the beginning of Islam, accepted Islam. Now, Ruman was his wife. She also accepted Islam. There was other famous people that we all know. Bilal radiallahu anhu, the freed slave of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he also accepted Islam. Uthman ibn Mad'un, Arqam, Arqam, how important role did he play in Islam? When Rasulullah ﷺ and they were boycotted, who would they go to the house of? Arqam, Darul Arqam. So Arqam radiallahu anhu, then Uthman ibn Mad'un, then Bilal radiallahu anhu, and Amir ibn Fuhayra. These were amongst those people that accepted Islam on the hands of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he was one of the first persons to accept Islam. After who? Anyone know? Who was the first person to accept Islam? Khadija. So Khadija was the first female Sahabiya to accept Islam. The females have a big role in Islam, subhanAllah. The first person to accept Islam was, that's why they say, the woman plays such an important role in Islam, it's unbelievable. But hidden, quietly, we don't know, but they are, we think these masajid, the imams, all this is, the men that give the sadaqah to the masjid, the musallas, all this, we think the men are the ones that are playing the role in Islam. It's not. It's the women that are playing the big role in Islam, in the tarbiyah of the children and growing Islam and making Islam reach to the 4 corners of the world. In reality, the most Islam is spreading is through the females, and we forget the sacrifices. If you just look at our own lives, who taught us Islam the most? We will remember that our moms were the ones who taught us most Islam. Our moms were the ones that, if you remember any hadith in your life, who was it? Your mother told you that hadith. If you remember who taught you the Quran, the Qaeda, who was it? Your mother taught you this. Everything that we have, it was the mother. So the ihsan of a mother and the ihsan of the mu'minat we have upon the believers is unparalleled. So we should thank all the mu'minat in the world, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them tremendous reward for their sacrifices. And nevertheless, so Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, now there's an ikhtilaf among a certain group of people. They say Ali bin Talib radiallahu anhu was the first person to accept Islam. But Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anhu was a very young Sahabi when he accepted Islam. Ali bin Talib, he was the son of who? Abu Talib. Abu Talib was a very poor person. He had a lot of children. So Rasulullah ﷺ knew the ihsan of his uncle and his grandfather. So he told Abu Talib that, you have a lot of children. Give me one of them. I will raise them. So if many of us might not know, but Ali radiallahu anhu grew up in the household of Muhammad ﷺ and Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha. He grew up in their home. And when he grew up in their home, obviously when Rasulullah ﷺ got the wahi and Khadija radiallahu anhu accepted Islam, so Ali bin Abi Talib was one of the first person also to accept Islam. But the first person who accepted Islam as a male that had no pressure or wasn't from the family of Rasulullah ﷺ was who? Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. So he was one of the first person who accepted Islam. So now we know Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu's name, his father and his mother. We know his lineage. We know his knowledge. We know what he was famous for. We know his family. We know how many children he had, who were his wives, and who amongst them had which children. Now we know the curiosity of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, what drove him to accept Islam. And now we know his habits, which habits he had pre-Islam. And we know the people that accepted Islam on his hands. Now we know his number when he accepted Islam. We know his titles, Siddiq. And now he was one of the first persons to everything. He was first. Remember this. If someone asks you who was the first person to do this, the first word will come out of your mouth was Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr, Abu Bakr, Abu Bakr, Abu Bakr, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Right? Abdullah bin Uthman. Remember, his name was Abdullah bin Uthman. Now, Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu, he was one of the first persons who sacrificed a lot for Islam. Who gave the most for Islam? Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. So one of his sacrifices, which we cannot forget, was one of his greatest sacrifices, which led his mother to accepting Islam. We might know the story, but I'm going to mention a little bit in detail here so that we can be aware with this story. Ibn Ishaq, who was a famous historian, he mentions that when Islam reached 38 men in the house of Darul Arqam, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he suggested to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now they're counting the people in Islam. Remember, this before the ayah, وَأَنذِرْ عَشِيرَتَكَ الْأَقْرَبِينَ. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used to give da'wah. Many of us use the word secretly. It wasn't a secret. Secret is the wrong word used. He used to give da'wah privately. Privately is a better word to be used here, because secretly would be like something, that we don't want other people to know. No, we want other people to know, but it was more privatized. So Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he said that why don't we start giving da'wah more openly? And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he could not. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's not gonna reveal an ayah for Abu Bakr radiallahu to give da'wah or not to give da'wah. This was a decision made by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. But a prophet cannot go and give da'wah openly until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually gives him the green light. So when was the green light given to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Approximately in the 3rd year of Bi'tha. When the ayah came down, what was that ayah? وَأَنذِرْ عَشِيرَتَكَ الْأَقْرَبِينَ. So when this ayah came down, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he gave da'wah openly. But before that, when 38 people accepted Islam in the house of Darul Arqam, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was asked by Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, "O Rasulullah, give me permission. I want to go and give da'wah openly in the haram." So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, "You know what? Maybe it's a good idea. Maybe it's not a good idea." And Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he hesitated. And Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu said, "You know what? I'm going to go, O Rasulullah." So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Okay, go." So if someone asks you, who was the first khatib of Islam? Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. Now Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu goes to the haram and he stands in the middle of the haram. He stands in the middle of haram. How Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, look at everything is so similarity of Rasulullah. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam goes to the Mount of Safa and says to the people that, "Oh people, how about if I told you that in the morning or in the evening behind this mountain, there are people that are going to come and they're going to attack you. Will you believe me?" They said, "Oh, of course. We never heard anything wrong from you. You never lied in your life." So Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, now he's going to the haram and he's going before and telling people, remember, he's going and telling people that, "Oh people, I'm telling you that say la ilaha illallah and stop worshipping these idols and stop worshipping these Lat and Uzza and worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala." And people say, "Oh, Abu Bakr, stop this, stop talking about this." And Abu Bakr is going on and on. And remember, and the people come and this enemy of Islam, at that time, who is the enemy of Islam? Abu Lahab. Abu Lahab was the enemy of Islam there. That's why immediately the ayah came down, "Tabbat yada Abi Lahabin wa tab, ma aghna anhu maluhu wa ma kasab, sayasla naran dhat lahab, wa imra'atuhu." Every Wednesday we have, in the masjid we have the last 12 surahs of the Quran. And last week we did Surah Lahab. So we had a quick understanding of Surah Lahab, and it's just so that we can have more concentration and devotion in salah when we're reciting these surahs. So if you can, try to come on Wednesdays, inshallah, you'll benefit a lot. Nevertheless, so familiarity. This is what's happening on this side of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he gives this, and who comes? Mughira bin Umayyah. He was one of the staunch enemies of Islam. What do you know about Mughira ibn Umayyah? He was one of those 7 people who took that part of the animal and put it on Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Remember? And what did Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam say? Because it was too much now. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam pointed at that 7 people, "Oh Allah, you take care of him, take care of him, take care of him, take care of him." And every single one of them was taken care of. Among them was Mughira ibn Umayyah. Mughira, and he was one of those people that came to Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, and he took his both shoes and started hitting Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu on his face. And Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu tried to defend himself, and because this mob mentality, gang mentality, when mob mentality is, they attack and everyone attacks them, and then they go back and they attack, and the gang mentality, like that. Everyone surrounded Abu Bakr and started beating Abu Bakr severely, to such a point that Abu Bakr became unconscious. Abu Bakr. Now, Abu Bakr when he becomes unconscious, what happens? Now here's where tribalism still has its effect. The people of Banu Taym, remember his lineage, it belonged to the Banu Taym. He belonged to the tribe of Banu Taym. They came quickly running and they moved people away, and they took Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. They had to take him on something like a stretcher back to the house of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. And Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu's father sees Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu in this state, and he's trying to wake up Abu Bakr, that, oh, Abu Bakr, wake up, wake up, wake up. He's unconscious. Look at the taklif that he took upon himself to give the da'wah of Islam. Today we can give da'wah so simply, we don't even have to do anything. We just have to make a little bit of effort, and we can go and preach Islam, and we can give da'wah about Islam, right? Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu is being in this situation. His tribe makes an announcement that if Abu Bakr passes away, we imagine he's Muslim, they are not Muslim, but still tribalism here is in effect, and says, because he has aman from them, safety from them. So he says to them that, listen, they say to the people of Makkah that if he passes away, we will kill Umayyah. We will kill, Mughira ibn Umayyah. We will kill Mughira. That's for sure. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, after a while, wakes up and he sees his father, and he asks his father, first question. What was that famous question? His famous question was, how is my Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? How is Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Imagine, he is you have to hit someone very hard to put him unconscious, and everyone hit him so hard. And the first question, how is my beloved Prophet? And his father turns 90 degrees and says, what are you talking about? And moves away. That, get out. I don't want to worry about you. And his mother comes to him. And his mother, what's her name? Ummul Khair. Ummul Khair, she asks her son, she starts taking care of him. He asks her, how is my beloved Prophet? So she says, are you, please just eat? Can you stop worrying about him? And can you eat? Take some water? No, wallahi, I will not eat until you tell me about Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So she says, I don't know. So he tells her, go to who? Go to who? It's a sister of Khattab. Who is the sister of Khattab? He tells her to go to the sister of Khattab. Who is it? Yes, the sister of Umar bin Khattab radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Jamila bint Khattab. He tells his mother, go to the sister of Ibn Khattab, Jamila bint Khattab, and ask her about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because he's telling her, because she's a woman, go see another woman who has accepted Islam. Remember, she has also accepted Islam secretly. So she goes to Jamila bint Khattab, who Umm al-Khair. She asked Jamila bint Khattab that how is Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? So she's confused now. Because remember, everyone has accepted Islam but is very secret about it. Because imagine if Umar bin Khattab finds out about the Islam of Jamila bint Khattab, and we all know the famous story. So she finds out and she says, who are you talking about? What are you talking about? I don't know anything about any of this. So she says, I don't know Muhammad, I don't know Abu Bakr. Who's your son? So she plays dumb, I don't know what you're talking about. And she's like, listen, my son told me to come, and so she's like, I still don't know what you're talking about. But you know what? Take me to your son, because she might be playing a trick on Jamila bint Khattab. So and everyone found out what happened to Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. So she goes to Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, and she sees Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, and she says, oh man, la'na be on those people that did this to you. But she's not declaring that I'm Muslim and everything. She's just saying this. So Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu is not worried about himself. He asks Jamila bint Khattab that what happened to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Is he okay or not? So she's like, is it okay to talk in front of her? He's like, yeah, don't worry about her. She's my mother. I know her. She's very nice. So Jamila bint Khattab says Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is okay. Then al-Khair tells Rasulullah, Abu Bakr, now can you eat and drink, please? He says, Wallahi, I will not eat until I see Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I still don't trust you guys. Maybe she's doing this out of al-Khair's pressure. So night comes, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, with the support of al-Khair and Jamila bint Khattab, goes to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Darul Arqam. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sees Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu sees Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They start crying and they see one another. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam tells Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, oh Abu Bakr, how are you? He says, oh Rasulullah, just to give tasalli to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He is hurt, he is in pain. But just to give tasalli to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to console Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, oh Rasulullah, I am fine, don't worry about me. Are you okay? So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, I'm fine, don't worry. But how are you? So he just to give tasalli to Rasulullah said, oh Rasulullah, one dash here on my face. Besides that, I'm okay. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, oh Abu Bakr, your sacrifice is unbelievable. And this is one of the sacrifices of Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And like this, many sacrifices of Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu has been mentioned. There are so many other sacrifices that we can mention, but time does not permit. And inshallah next week or whenever the Friday night program happens again regarding the legacy of Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu, I encourage you to come join again. And Jazakallahu khairan. I encourage every one of you to join again, inshallah. There is another incident of, there's so much. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu's life, subhanallah, it is full of sacrifices for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inshallah, we will continue in the future as well. And we will learn more about Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. And the purpose of this is not to just get knowledge. It is so that we can understand the value of these people and what sacrifices they have given for the sake of Islam. And not only that, when we learn about these people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewards us. And this makes our spirituality increase. When we talk about these people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increases our iman. These were people of iman, and when we talk about their iman, it increases our iman. And then when we have difficulties in our life and we turn to people like this, we realize that our sacrifices are nothing in comparison to these Sahaba radiallahu anhu ajma'in. Whether it be male or female, they all gave tremendous sacrifices so Islam can reach us. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give myself and all of us the tawfiq and ability to practice on whatever has been said, and give us closeness to the Sahaba in this world and in the life of the hereafter. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Subhanallah wa bihamdi. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al mursalin. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin.